Okay, so I am going to record this second here. So, just bear with me here, please. I might actually release this one at 6 p.m. instead of 12 a.m. or 6 a.m. Yeah. Trying to think of time. Now, I don't care what people do, whatever. Maybe it's good for other people who have bought the program, whatever. But no matter what you say, it has not been a good thing. College Humor has had so many skits, especially from people who used to be, I guess, late night co-hosts that had a deal until they started doing their own kind of sketches. And then either it or kind of started learning it there anyway, but more so on their own. Well, they actually had an official channel. I don't think they did. I don't know. Or you would have been popular, whatever. So, here's the thing. That last video, I didn't mean for it to go that long. I meant for it to be short. And well, hang on a minute. A lot of you may not know this, but College Humor, if you ever heard of it, if you didn't, there used to be a channel. And then they were saying something about how they lost a lot of money, which I doubt it. You know, as much as they were still making videos, they stopped doing it. All the cast of the original one is gone. They're not cast away as far as I know. There's quite a few of them on there. I think there's quite a few of them that weren't on the show for a little while. But they stopped coming on. So, who's to say if they're going to start their own channel? Have their own. You know, because I mean, much like Smosh Games. Smosh Games, if you have never heard of it, actually was something that they did aside from the original Smosh channel itself. And yes, a lot of people get more popular, but not everybody who actually separates their content to separate channels gets more popular just because they separate their stuff from that. You know. So anyway, the Smosh Games, they had the original cast from there mostly, which is the two of them that started out with Anthony and Ian. It's not a shout out to their channel, but because they don't really need my deal, they're already too popular. Anyway, I also had some other characters, another one, and others that also joined that came along the way at the time. I don't even know that eventually, Anthony, not Ian, Anthony separated from the thing, and yeah, and eventually they did. The ones that bought them out shut down, and someone else bought them for a while for like so many years, and they finally got together, came back, reunited, and bought the thing. And even though Anthony still does his own thing, he also gives time for that every now and again. But anyway, so back to Smosh Games. These characters, or it's not characters, the cast that was on there had their own channels. They eventually did their own things separately. They were still kind of doing things a little bit here and there, but they did more so on their own. Then they stopped doing it. I don't know what the deal is. And I don't know why they retired or anything like that. I kind of thought it was dumb. But I said kind of. It's not like it's like dumb, like it's not understandable, but it's dumb because, well, they had so much potential and stuff. And then, yeah, eventually people get retired. They move on. Time for new people to come in and take over the scene. There's always new people coming in and stuff. And that's fine and dandy, but I still think we ought to include the past. Maybe not like 100 years or so ago when people thought, oh my god, that's if you're using technology, you're a witch. Or you're a heathen. Or a witch for using it. That's a thing. That's a sin. What the hell is that? You say, technology? What is this technology? That's the devil talking. Won't you there? You need Jesus. Or, whatever, that they believe in. That's what they would do back then. I mean, yeah, it fascinates me to know about a lot of stuff about history, but this is the stuff that would have been before we knew what was in. But that was just a lot of stuff that we actually knew about some of it. So, supposedly it's been recorded. But we're talking about like before then, stuff that was never recorded, stuff that actually where they had their own lives, stuff like that more interests me because we already know about that. I mean, that's a no-brainer. They're like, okay, why would you want to know about something you already know about? When there's other more fascinating stories no one talks about because there's no one there to tell their story. I mean, even though those will eventually be forgotten too, because they won't be discovered. So, and I'm gonna tell you something else. I like how this YouTube thing now is slower about notifying me that somebody actually commented. Because I actually checked it before it even showed up. It's crazy. It's like what happens on BitChute. It's kind of slow, especially on release, knowing that a video has actually been released, much less a comment. Or maybe, no, maybe it's quicker once it appears. But anyway, all I know is specifically when it comes to this, I mean, it's slower than hell. And I'm glad I checked on it because I would have never known if the guy would have replied until it would have showed me, like, oh, now I know he commented. Like, and even though it says now 5 minutes ago, that makes no sense. Why are you just now showing me this? Why couldn't you just show it when he... It used to do that now, where it would automatically, somebody would automatically comment on the, or reply to your comment. Now it no longer does that. I don't know and I don't care. I mean, I wish it was to stay with that. Anyway, what were we talking about now? Oh, right, college humor. College humor to me was good, but I don't care about the new way that it's gone. I think it's bull crap. It's gone into basically what you call a scam. And it is a scam. Anybody who can actually bring it on there and say, well, you need to join and, pay to watch and stuff like that to go on the member stuff, that's a scam. Because I'm going to tell you right now, that's stupid. We already have enough limits as it is. You have to watch videos on here. What with the ads and stuff, and if you want to stop them, you have to pay for membership, and if you don't want to, you have to deal with the ads. That actually, which is stupid, that it even supports these higher YouTuber guys. Now, I'm not trying to say I'm against supporting them if they really deserve it, which a lot of them do deserve the support, but I don't think they should be. I don't really believe nor buy in the idea they should be supported by the idea of ads. I don't care what you say. I mean, if they got their own brand that they're trying to whatever that they're trying to get out there, fine. But as far as just pop-up ad commercials that really, really, truly have nothing, literally nothing to do with the actual content you're trying to watch. It has nothing to do with it. Nothing. I don't care how much gameplay there is, even if it's... Because it just talks about other gameplay that has nothing to do with what they're doing. All that is newer, even if it's some sort of new 2D model, but more of a 3D aspect ratio, whatever. Who the hell cares? With all these new voices and stuff like that. I mean, they're all fantastic, but I don't care about it. Then they want to do these stupid PvP games. They're stupid. They're a disgrace. I hate them. I like players when you can if you want to do fight against each other. I just don't like PvP. PvP back then, yeah, it was great. But nowadays, because it's online, it's a disgrace to what it meant. Because at least back then you could have more fun. Today there is no fun. If you call that fun, then yeah, you completely lost the idea of what fun means. Especially if you had to fight your partner in a duel because he was just trying to have fun. Well, when you got everybody bombarding you like the daggum AI does, at least with the AI, it's more acceptable. That is not. Because literally, when you play PvP games, I don't know if I've ever said this, but you literally don't stand a chance. Because no matter how high you get, or how, even if you take, no matter how leveled up or how fastly you roll, even if it takes so much, they bombard you to death. To death! You have no chance of winning. Not one battle against a high level opponent. And then there's also weaker ones that sometimes try to pick on you. But it's not as bad as those who pick on you because, oh, even if, you know, and not only that, but then they want you to join these guilds, blah, 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 and stuff like that. And then they have to have their own set of rules, blah, blah, blah. I think it's so stupid, blah, blah, so damn stupid. Really, it is. I get the rules idea, but I don't get the other idea. They say all that, but then they go ahead and attack lower level players. The other, you know, on the whole entire deal. If you, I know it's the name of the game to attack other players, but why bombard them from every corner of the map? You know, it's ridiculous what they do with these games. And not only that, but they also do, you know, they have these awful, awful chats. I think they should have it where you can turn it off, period, in the public chat. Because all you get is spam, and you think, huh? Somebody trying to message me or something, and it's hard to. It's hard to absolutely. By the way, if you push back twice and push, I think it's X or circle, do it quick enough, you can do that humiliation, or not humiliation, but that burning thing. I don't know. I kind of just barely remembered it, so you're lucky I removed it then, because I probably forgot it later. Because half the time I can't pull it off. But again, even though I'm trying my best to do it. Anyway, so, you know, all of those chats, they're so daggum awkward, it's not even funny. Especially when they have sex talks. And they say it's not a dating site, and then they talk about Discord. Dumb. People have to send their D-pics. They really do. It's dumb. So, you know, and, you know, they also talk about what age they are, 12 and 13. And okay, and then you got 21 in there, you know, with a 12-year-old, you know, supposedly, I don't know if they really are or not, but if they are, oh my God, that is so horrible. And, bleh, ugh, God. I would never talk like that in a game, ever. That's why I hate those kind of things. You know, back in my day, back when I was growing up, even if you had to have PvP matches and stuff like that, there was no, yeah, well, maybe there was online when they finally came with streaming and stuff before they had this PvP stuff. But when you have matches in person, no one I ever knew ever, and I mean ever, talked about doing the nasty with some underage child. Nobody that I ever knew when they were fighting and stuff. You know, and I mean that. Nobody ever even showed their junk either. But that's what they do nowadays. Try as they may, and I'm not saying it's a bad thing that they're doing it, or that they should give up on trying to catch these criminals doing that crap. But you just can't stop it from happening forever. I'm just gonna put it like that because it's true. No matter what you try to do, and I'm glad that we're trying to stop it. Don't get me wrong, but just trying to stop it forever is just like a joke. It would be like a miracle happening. Like, oh my God! Oh, you're gonna do what now with an underage kid? Don't you dare utter those words ever again. I'll come over there and I'll slap you so hard into the next week you won't even know what happened the week before that. Except I won't use physical violence because then that would put me in jail. I use words, to absolutely get you. Like, man, I don't like you no more. I'm gonna leave you there. I mean, that should be hard enough. I hate the idea that, okay, everywhere I go, right? Or you go on the internet, it's like, you can't be mean, but everybody else can. They literally will give you a warning. I have had that. Doesn't matter if I'm saying any cuss words or anything like that. They'll give me a warning. Even if it's not a rule on someone else's deal, or they're in their group or whatever. It's stupid. Like, I'm not allowed to express how I feel. Ooh, there it is. I finally got that. Brutal. That's the first time I've ever been to do that, because generally, that's the place to really knock them off to the edge. And it doesn't always happen randomly. He'll fall down to something different happening every time. But, I don't know. What's a good... there's not a lot to go through them, unless I want to get into a lot of trouble. These guys, I don't have to know about. But it is when you have to take on the AI. That's another thing. I mean, I'm not so worried about it when I have to actually play the game, because when you have to play the game, it's the way it is. So don't expect much. I mean, if you're thinking, well, that's just racist because you just did that. Well, I mean, technically, whether I'm actually practicing against myself, no matter who I'm playing, or going up against the AI, it'd still be racist. Or be so offensive because, oh, I beat up a woman. Or because I beat up TJ Combo. Yeah, that would be racist. And that's today's culture. It's been that way kind of sort of anyway, but now worse more than ever. And I'm going to tell you something else. Whenever I fought this game, I never had to use tricks or anything. And I never had to use the kicks. I have used kicks rarely. And the only kicks I'm talking about is the ones that Cinder has, where he can jump up and do some kicks. Do this right. So yeah, and I still don't know how to do Ultra, but I have done it. I really have. So, even when I finally mastered the art of being able to do it, I wouldn't say fully mastered it, but if I'm doing that now where I can't actually go about that. Yes, even if I could get them to be on the same player, it'll change anyway. Different one when you go into battle, so anyway, not that matters. But yeah, so that's the way today is. If you want a better culture, that's not going to happen. Where nobody thinks it's not racist. You can take on TJ Combo. You see what I mean? Because you know, or when you beat up a woman. But to be fair, there's a lot of games that have that, where you beat up on a woman, and you're not just beating up on her; she's also beating up on you. Even if you don't take the first strike, she's doing it to you first. So how is that fair? Yeah, I don't understand this rule. And then there's the whole idea of how they want guys to still beat up on women, even when to fight back in wrestling or something like that. Let's have it sort of a fair match. I do not understand this world. Is it okay or not okay to beat up a woman? Regardless of whether or not it's abusive or not. I would think it would still be. I mean, I say that because you'd think it would be abusive anyway, no matter what the reason. And because, oh, well, you know, but then again, to be fair, what do you, I mean, what, okay, let's say argumentatively. Now, and again, this isn't just saying only women are doing this. I don't have to say it for the record, but you might know. A woman comes at you, and this is true. Women can do this. Actually, any woman can, but not all women will. For the record, but there are women out there that will do this because they're crazy, or they will snap and suddenly go at you. If they start taking a knife at you, are you supposed to defend yourself? And it's like, well, if you don't, you're gonna die, or you know, if you don't, you know, run away. But if you do, it's so terrible. It's abuse. It's like when an animal who's bigger than you could easily take you down, and you start, you know, kind of get back at them, like, you know, to get them to teach them not to hit unless it's necessary. That's considered abuse. I don't understand that. If you're telling them no, and it's because they're hitting. You're gonna try, you know, trying to get them not to bite and claw at other people. Or if you don't want them to lick you. And you're not trying to actually beat them up, you're just taking your fists at them because you're trying to give them the idea that it's not a good idea. I don't see the harm with that. It's not like I'm accidentally just doing it for no reason. You're training the animal not to be that way unless it's for defensive purposes. Like, because I can understand that the animal has to defend themselves. I mean, like, if you actually just just hit them all the time, that's one thing. But just to hit them just a little bit, you know, even a swat on the butt is not a good thing. Oh my God, that's just so abusive. I don't believe it. But I will say this. Yes, animals should be treated with kindness and respect, but they also need to be trained. Right? They have to be trained. It's hard to train a wild animal when they've been out in the wild so long. Yeah. But they will know their own senses when you get to be around them and stuff and whatever around you, but that doesn't mean they're going to be any different towards other people. So that's just in the wild. But when you can get them to be, you know, freely to come with you, then yeah, it's much more easier to do that. But that's all I'm saying. I mean, yeah, I believe that if you beat them to a bloody pulp, that's abusive. Take a baseball bat and you hit them, that's abusive. Take a damn whip, that's abusive. And speaking of which, I thought, oh my God, here we go. Because this was so wrong because she got so mad at him when he gave her the whip. And she finally started whipping him. Look, I like whips as much as the next person, but I don't like them that way. I mean, even though I said that horse whipped behind a barn somewhere, I don't think that's a good, reasonable punishment, no more than taking a belt and hitting somebody. Hands are enough to do the job. I mean, it's Obviously, you shouldn't be so damn sore down there. Of course not. But when you think about what it means to give a good, punishable spanking, hands are good enough. You shouldn't have hands that are so damn hard either. But hard enough and soft enough to not break the skin and have them bleeding, and you won't be able to sit for a week. I turned off that thing where they had the show, even though it was in Japanese and it was kind of thing. Subtitles are not easy to do. Let me tell you that right now. I mean, a lot of times I'll try to do subtitles, but I want to make them accurate, not where it doesn't make sense like these other dumb idiots who don't know how to translate anything. Like it should be accurately as the show is saying it. I mean, I get sometimes if you want to do it by the article, but again, shows should be done by the manga anyway. You know, I get cutting out some things that were in the manga, but I don't get the idea of mentioning something you're never gonna see again or even bother. Like Vegeta's brother. Yeah, Vegeta has two brothers. One of them named Rygor, and the other one's something else. I don't know. And he never transformed, but he was a pretty decent fighter. He wasn't as decent as Vegeta. No, he was pretty weak. But they only spoke about it in Japanese. And you know what also gets me about Dragon Ball Z Super is the idea of two things. One of them being that Bulma never had a sister. Now, maybe it was in the manga. I didn't read all the mangas. I have read mangas, but not all of them. And I think they're all pretty good in their own unique way. I just don't get into them. No offense. I'm not saying they're horrible. That doesn't mean that they're horrible because somebody don't read them or never has read them. I can't say I never have. But even if I had never had, which I guarantee I did to it, whether you believe it or not, I don't care. But anyway, suddenly she has a sister in Dragon Ball, a sister in Dragon Ball Super. What also gets me is why they keep going back about the idea how bad it is to travel back in time. In general consensus, it's not that bad. It's not. It never has been, never will be. I mean, the only bad thing about it is if you change the reality of where things could affect other people. But it also depends on what you're trying to change. Future Man made no damn sense. It said it was based on real things. I don't believe that. I really don't. If I was to believe that, it would have affected me. A long time ago. But anyway, I thought, well, it's interesting. Maybe it might be true. But only in so many different aspects. Now that I'm more thinking about it. But not everything. Sorry to break it to you, but not everything is real on there. And another thing I want to point out is if it was so real, how come we don't keep the season? Don't keep it a scoop law because you're not meant to. Well, if you're not meant to, how do you explain that? Oh, because somebody traveled back in time. It's not as bad as you think. It's only bad to travel to the future. Look, so what if you want to travel to the future? Star Trek also made this stupid mistake about, oh, well, because the guy didn't even belong at that time, they had to send him back to his own time, which was dumb. It's like before he was meant to be there, even if he was a criminal in that time, it would have made more sense to just keep him in that time. Maybe he just wants to be there. It's, make they can feel part of something. You know? Yeah, okay, that didn't work out. Okay. Tried to do it, it didn't work. But that right there leads me to this conclusion that I mean, like literally, I said I will do more. Well, that's dumb. Damn it! Really? Click on this. I know I didn't click on X. Dumb fart knocker. Thanks a lot for that. But anyway, that's about it. That's all I want to talk about. So, I mean, like a lot of the stuff I can go ahead and upload here, but just be wary that it may not have sound because of copyright issues. And that's what I always am leery about. Anyway, and I'll catch you guys in another episode. Until next time, and until then, later.